more minutes. In any case, the moderator is called Ganith Hirschberg. You don't know her. You'll meet her. She's used. Yeah, I'll talk about Ganith in the meantime. Yeah, to introduce her. She's a very interesting woman, I would say. She happened to work for me for e-seniors as a European project manager a long time ago. I mean, I would say 5 or 6 years. I don't remember exactly. Françoise perhaps remembers when she worked.
15 years.
A long time ago, yeah, 10 years.
In the beginning of e-senior.
Yeah, so perhaps it's more about 10 years ago. And then she decided to change the way completely and to learn, how do you call that? To learn about wine. Comment on dit? La vinologie, non, c'est pas ça.
L'œnologie.
Œnologie. Œnologia. You know what? Œnologia, I think in English it must be the same. So she tried to learn about œnologia. That is the subject she was interested. And then, of course, she began to try to make a practicum on that subject in wine shops. And then she decided to open her own shop in the middle of Paris. And she has been trying to do not only selling wine, because there is a new trend in wine selling which is also talking about the wines and making things more interesting. And besides that, she also organized, which has nothing to do with wine, a book club, a physical one, in fact, in her cave. I mean, in her shop in some way. And I think, yeah, she was doing that for a long time, but now, of course, I suppose she's going to be online also later on, because there's no other way. So naturally, I asked her to be the moderator for this book club event. And this is the first time we do this. Okay, so that's the story of Ganith. Ganith is a little late because of some timing in her shop, and she might be even listening to our, what's that? She might even be listening to us for the moment, but she will join as soon as she can. So in the meantime, I have to ask you to tell you about some aspects of this book club, which I hope will be successful. Of course, we'll see. If ever we would be interested in going on with that idea, my first idea, and I already wrote it to you, was that it would be interesting to have each time an author from a different country, and to know new people from other countries, like any country. I mean, Poland, Slovenia, whatever, Ireland. Some people which we might already know because they might be internationally known, but not everybody knows. And so we are waiting for suggestions about authors in other countries. And I've got an example which is about the Czech Republic, but which is quite well known. It's Kundera, Milan Kundera, for instance. But Milan Kundera is a bit specific because he's writing also in French. So in France, we know him pretty well. But in other countries, perhaps I'm sure there are people well known and in that people don't know. So that's one thing. If you could tell us about local authors of international scope, of course, and who are translated. Because the idea is always that you can read the book in your language, and then we discuss in English. So that's one thing. The other question is how often can be done a book club like this? I mean, how long do you need to read a book in some way? I mean, of course, 1 month minimum. Perhaps it's more 2 months. I don't know. And what else? Ganith told me that normally what she's doing is she's making a list of 5 authors, and then she's giving out to vote to the people who are interested. She sends out the 5 names, and people are voting. So we have we keep the one who has the more voices, the more votes. So that's a good way, perhaps, to proceed afterwards. Yeah, that's all about organization. In fact, here, so of course, Ganith is going to ask a basic question like, who did not like the book? I'm talking about now Animal Farm. That's the question she's going to ask you, and you can already think about the answer you might give, because it's always easier to say negative things than to say positive things in some way. Of course, if you want to say positive things, why not? And then, of course, everybody will talk. We have to make a limit of time, as Dana is doing when she's doing her memory meetings, or even if we make the general meetings, we have to limit the amount of time. I don't know how much, but 2 and 3 minutes, 2 minutes is good, because 3 is already too long. In fact, I'm giving a bad example, because I'm talking too much. So in the meantime, about what I've been saying, does somebody has some remarks about this general organization? We are still waiting for Ganith, as I told you. So if somebody wants to take the floor, as I say, for the moment, about what I've been saying, do you have something to suggest? You can, if you want to talk, of course, you take off your microphone, or you have this system of raising the hand, which is in the discussion. Or you have also the discussion. You know how to do raising the hand. Where's raising the hand? I don't really see it, in fact. Désactiver plus. I don't see it, in fact. Perhaps you know. How do you raise a hand? It's crazy. I don't see it at the moment. Réaction. No. Okay. So anyhow, at the moment, if do you have some what do you think about my proposition? I mean, to change authors and to change countries and to give people from different countries. Would you have an idea already, perhaps? Now,
maybe you should ask us at the end of today. I would like to see how it runs.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm Christian Wienberg from Hamburg, Germany.
Yeah.
I can better understand English than speak it, but I try to follow the discussion.
Yeah.
Das ist Vorsitzender the Seniorenbüro Hamburg. In earlier time, I was the leader of the German Bundesarbeitsgemeinschaft Seniorenbüros. And in earlier times, I led the German section of ORWELL, but now I'm alone. Only me.
Yeah, yeah. So you are the only one in Germany. I mean, besides Dirk, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
But you don't belong to Baxo or to some other.
The Baxo, no. We worked very good together with Baxo. I know them, and they know me.
Yes. In fact, they are organizing a meeting. I think it's next week, and even I think Dana sent out to everybody. It's on the 21st. I think Baxo is organizing a meeting about aging. No, something active and healthy aging.
Well, I don't know the situation at the moment.
Yeah, I think Dana sent it out, but recently, in fact, perhaps even today. Okay, so that's very nice because other people don't know you, and you don't know other people either. I would say, I suppose. So somebody else wants to make a presentation.
Yep, van der Spek. We know each other very well.
Yes.
Where is he? I saw him.
Yeah, I saw him too. And now I see a number, and I don't know who is the number, 920868.
Is it Jean-Michel?
This is
Who is the number?
920868.
It's you. Oh, hi. Nice.
Sorry.
Okay, so that's you, the number.
Yes.
It will no, it will not change. Oh, we can change. In fact, we can say the
Okay.
I think you can put your name.
I'm going to try.
Renommé, you can. Jean-Michel. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted. Now I think it's okay now. Yeah, Jean-Michel. So Jean-Michel, you want perhaps to say a word just to introduce yourself or about what I have said?
Well, I couldn't hear what you said. I wasn't there yet.
You did not hear. You were not there at the beginning.
Not yet.
Yeah. No, I was saying that it would be interesting to have authors from all around the world. I mean, from different countries, that somebody from another country gives us an idea about an author that we could read. I don't know, Slovenia, Poland, whatever, Lithuania, Ireland, Netherlands, whatever. People, because not everybody knows what's happening in another country.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And I think literature in France is quite important, but it's quite different from the British literature. People like Orwell perhaps Voltaire was somebody like Orwell, but not in the same century. So I think it's very interesting anyway. And it's different from books, but I learned a lot about eggs. Last time we had a meeting about Easter, you know?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Elizabeth.
Yes, and we learned a lot about what we could do with eggs.
Yeah, that was a meeting about the English conversation, and they were talking about Easter customs, and it's Elizabeth who prepared the meeting and all the stuff about the Easter eggs and so on. Yeah, that's what you mentioned, I think.
Very funny.
Yeah, and May was there also, and so. I don't know. It's interesting to know if other people from other countries know about French authors.
Oh yes.
Nowadays, Voltaire is not really recent.
Yeah,
No.
well, Welbeck is well known, if I may say so. Michel Welbeck, I think.
Welbeck. Yeah,
famous.
he's because he's making scandals.
Yeah.
Well, not only, but
Pornography.
rather rough stories.
Do you know, May? Do you know who is Welbeck?
Yes.
Do I know? No,
Yeah.
I'm very bad. I read rubbish books, if you like, because I have so much work to do sometimes that I like to read frivolous books sometimes. Now, I did read George Orwell, and I have to say, I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
But I find it very heavy. But in regard to French authors, no. My daughter, who speaks fluent French and who lived in France for 5 years, she reads a lot of French books, but they are in French.
Yes.
So, you know, they're not translated. So I wouldn't have a hope. But I'm very lazy, Monique, very lazy about what I read. I like rubbish. Sorry. Now, not Mills and Boon sort of stuff or romances or anything like that. I like historical novels and things like that, or family sagas. I like that type of thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I read. And I have to read every night before I go to sleep, otherwise I don't go to sleep. I read about 3 chapters a night, every night.
Yeah, but I understand. I think it's why not? If it's a good way to go to sleep.
Yeah, it clears your mind. Yeah.
Few lines, and then
Mm.
you might think about what you have read, and in the meanwhile you go to sleep, and that's the best way to do.
I know. And I'll tell you an author that is very good, but he's English. Jeffrey Archer. I think he's fabulous. Absolutely. I love reading his books. He gets you from the first page, you know, that kind of a way. And it's not too heavy, but you have to concentrate because there's always a twist at the end. So that's quite good.
Are the books?
There was a French Nobel Prize winner, Modiano.
Modiano.
Yeah, so he's relatively modern. Yeah, I think only a few years ago he won this Nobel Prize for Literature. So,
all right.
You know that Patrick Modiano is very shy. He's very, very shy. When he speaks, for him, it's terrible. He's a very good writer. You've seen La Place de l'Étoile, perhaps?
Yes, but it's very, very short.
Yes, short but very intense.
Yes, but it is very good. Modiano is very good.
Yes, I like it.
No, that's
The last book in English that I read, you'll be astonished, I think, is from Bram Stoker.
Oh, Dracula. Dracula.
This side. And
yes, Dracula.
Okay.
very romantic.
No, I don't.
It's
like
about
He's
love
Irish.
only. The title is very well. You think of something else, but it's all about love. It's very nice. It's like reading Sense and Sensibility or that kind of thing. It's just the same. The title is confusing. Well, Bram Stoker is a very good writer. Like the one who's at the Père Lachaise in Paris. You know, Oscar Wilde.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, right.
He's Irish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you come to Paris, you must see his grave at the Père Lachaise. It's the only one with a glass before it, because everybody wants to touch or write things that it has to be protected because and cleaned up every month because too many lipsticks and that kind of thing.
On Oscar Wilde's grave or Bram Stoker?
But it's very nice, yeah. Well, Oscar Wilde is a very good writer, I think.
Of course he is.
But it's not actual.
Picture of both Dorian Gray, yes.
Oh, yeah. That's
Dorian Gray.
Where you don't want to age.
And the one with the...
Laetitia Colombani. Laetitia
Oh,
Colombani.
it will come again. I forgot it at the
French
moment.
La Tresse, and in English, The Braid. Very interesting, very short novel. And it is 3 characters in Canada, Sicilia, and India. And
What is it now called?
it is translated in 20 languages.
Yeah, but what is the name of the code?
Laetitia Colombani. Laetitia Colombani. And in England, the braid.
The braid.
Voilà.
Brain. Yeah.
Braid. Braid.
The brain.
Can you show the book again? Can you show the book a little higher? La Tresse.
La Tresse.
La Tresse. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because the first time I thought about a French book, I was thinking about La Peste de Camus, but it's funny. I mean, it's all, of course, it's important. Everybody knows about it.
Yes.
It's even related to the COVID some way, but it's so, wow. It's so hard. And it would be more interesting, in fact, to know something like that not everybody knows, like you say, Laetitia Colombani. Okay, we can have a look at that, of course. But we will see if somebody gives us also books from other countries. We'll make a vote, as I said. I think that's the best thing to do. So in the meantime, I see that Ganith is there, but she's still busy, it seems, because she cannot put out her microphone. But so perhaps in the meantime, somebody else wants to present. In fact, Elizabeth, I just want to ask you. We talked yesterday with Diana again about Ganith is there. About doing again English conversation. So we'll talk about that later. If and you agreed eventually to talk with Diana and see about a new subject for May or June or whatever. We'll see. Okay, I see that in the meantime, Ganith seems to be online. Is that right?
Yes, I am. Well, I still have 8 minutes before I should close. So, but I think that if you finished all your questions about the procedures and everything, so maybe we can start. And then I will, at exactly 14 and 30 minutes, I'll go and close the door so that no one will bother us. If any customers will come in, I will have to leave you, but I will just turn off my my sound so that that will not bother, and I will come back. So do you want to start, or do you still have some things that you had to discuss?
No, we began to discuss some books, but of course we will continue by email. I think it would be nice if people send us by email names, like we spoke about Modiano, about Oscar Wilde, Dorian Gray, Jeffrey, I didn't write the name exactly.
Archer.
How do you write that? Okay, you have to write it later on. And Colombani, Laetitia, which I never heard about, but of course it might be very interesting. Okay, so I spoke specifically about the fact that we might choose 5 books, and then people will vote to see the book which is the most important. So
exactly. So I think
to animal farm.
I think that would be the easiest way. So if you would like to start the discussion about the book, some rules about the discussion, because it's an open discussion and we're via Zoom, so it's very difficult to manage and let everyone talk. So just to give it the general frame of the discussion, it's an open discussion. It is not supposed to be academic. If someone has information, that's wonderful, but it's mostly opinions, viewpoints, so we're allowed to say anything respectfully, and any opinion is a good opinion. That's what I think. Okay, so it's even better when sometimes we disagree one with the other, as long as we are respectful one to the other. Please, if you talk, please try not to dominate the conversation. There are some people who have more difficulties to enter into the discussion especially via Zoom. Some others have it more easily. So try to be a little bit sensitive to the people and to those who want to talk. If you see that you try to talk a few times and you never manage, try to use the reaction button to raise your hand or something. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
In the reaction button, you can raise your hand. So if you see that you don't manage to place a word, try to raise your hand via the application so that we will see, and we will try to give you the opportunity to talk. But I would like it to be quite open and natural as much as possible. So, just also to give it a little bit of frame is, Monique asked me to do this book club because I do have a book club in Paris. I have a French book club and an English-speaking book club in Paris, which the English-speaking book club works together since 10 years. So I will try to do it the same way we're doing it there, but I think there are many other ways probably. I don't have any ready book club questions because I do believe in the natural construction of the discussion. It's not, as I said, we're not in the university, okay? So ready? After I gave you all this speech. So I will start with the question that we always ask, and I think that will start the discussion. Who did not like the book?
Well,
Okay, May, why didn't you like it?
Which on the
Sorry, I have muted myself. Well, it's about animals and it's a parody on humans. And I sort of lost interest in it after a while, which is very bad for me to say that. But it's a bit like Big Brother is watching you all the time. So I just didn't like it. It just did. I'm very odd when I start reading. If after I've done a chapter or maybe two, and it doesn't hold my interest, I just throw it away. So that's why I just didn't like it. That's it. Sorry about that, but that's the way it is.
It's allowed not to like it, as I said. Anyone else who did not like it? Or yeah, Michel.
Yes.
It's my computer is out of the battery. It's about. I liked it very much.
No, it's
Sorry.
just like,
No, there was a Michel who did not like it.
no.
Yeah, for the moment,
Yeah.
Michel Tarrer.
I loved it.
Michel Tarrer or Jean-Michel?
Well, it was difficult for me to go down in story, and I did not like this book very much. It was not entertaining. It is a fable, a violent critique of the communism, and the animals don't want to be managed by the farmers, but some inequalities will widen. Nevertheless, the animals would rather be slaves to pigs than to men. They build a windmill twice over, and I think that this part is too long for me.
You found it too long?
Yes.
Someone wants to answer while I'm going and turning off my my shop, closing my shop and turning off the light.
Jean-Michel wanted to say that he did like the book, yeah?
Yes, very much. But I think anyway, I've been through 1984. Wonderful.
It's the same author.
But there's a lot of poetry in that. It sounds awful, but it's very warm. I like it very much. But I think the book is not, well, I thought that I had already read the book, but it was not true, because when I started it again, it was not again. for the first time. So I think I read it in, well, one day. Just I kept started in the morning and I was done in the afternoon. I like to read a lot, but I think it's a very, very good book. And the choice of pigs as being equivalent to man is, well, it's a bit nasty. It doesn't, not very gentle to do that. But yes, it's amazing. And the horse who tries to read, he can read A, B, C. So he tried D, F, G. It was a success, but he forgot A, B, C as soon as that kind of very, very nice. And there are thousands of things like that in that book. That's my opinion.
That's good. That's good.
And 1984 is written afterwards, yeah? Has been written much later, I think, yeah?
No, not really.
No?
Not really. This was written, I think, 47 and 1984. I'm not quite sure, but of course it's the same author. And I think 1984 is more depressing than Animal Farm. From my point of view, Animal Farm is a must because it is timeless and it just, of course, animals represent people, but you see how manipulative people can be. They just follow as the stupid horses. They're vain or just interested in some superficial topics. But as soon as also the animals gain power, they also change completely and they forget all the rules and the laws. These are the laws that have been changed in the very end. So I think it's a very true book and it's always true. And
I may,
it's true, of course.
I may
It
talk.
will be true forever.
Raise your hand.
Well, I may talk. I had no problem with the animals because I grew up in a village and we had at home, we had we had sheep, we had swine, the pigs, we had 3 pigs, we had sheep, we had dogs, we had all. And as a child, I played with them. I played with the with the pigs and with the sheep. So that was, I like that. I feel very close to them and very close to what they experience. The other point was when I was 4.
In what sense, sorry, Chris, in what sense did you feel close to what they, I'm not so sure I understood.
Because
because he
knows about the how animals behave, perhaps, and then he can say that it's really true like that. I mean, it's a good description of the animals, something like that.
Chris?
Behavior of the behavior.
Christian, my name of my computer is Chris, but I'm Christian.
Yeah, Christian.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, that is only a feeling, and I think it's important to have a good feeling to what I read and what I talk about. So
that's for sure.
A good feeling and an experience as well, because I was 4 years when the Germans when they went into Poland, and at first we grew up in Germany, and then we went to Denmark, and in Denmark I was forced. In the south of Denmark. My father was Danish, but he was a friend of the Nazis, and I was forced to be part of the Hitlerjugend. So I got to know this kind of strong order, awful order, and that is the second the second memory I have to this what I read in this book.
Okay. someone else who wants to, Anne, you started to say something.
Just very short, I would like to say. In France, we have an author very famous whose name is La Fontaine, who writes poetry.
Jean-Michel, c'est Jean-Michel?
In what sense?
La Fontaine. Il y a les
La
fables de
Fontaine.
J'ai
La
trouvé que la
Fontaine.
tête de Jacques avait changé un peu. Non, il est parti, mais tout à l'heure, il était.
Denis, tu n'es pas en photo, donc on ne se rend pas compte que tu parles.
Ouais, et tu t'appelles Françoise,
Comment?
Denis. Denis,
Ah,
tu
it's
t'appelles
Françoise. Whoever it is who's talking without having a video,
I
it's
know.
very distracting. We do not know.
I know.
Jean-Michel, il occupe le truc, hein.
Hey, no.
Well,
Françoise.
okay. So who was talking? Someone was talking behind and there was no photo.
Denis, Denis.
Denis, do you want to say something?
Yes, Monique, you can cut the microphone for Denis, please.
Okay, I'll try. Wait a minute. Denis, désactivez le son, yeah?
Voilà.
Yeah, voilà.
Good.
That's why he will not bother us if he's not. He's talking.
That's-
No, because if someone talks about
Okay.
yeah, well, what did you think? Well, did any of you read any other book by Orwell?
Yeah, 1984.
Yeah.
But this was written a year after. Animal Farm, I just looked it up, was written 46 and then 45 and then 46 to 48, the other book was written.
48.
And
I also read.
what did you think in terms of, well, I think that the story is quite clear in terms of what he's trying to say. And as you said, Elizabeth, I do agree with you that it's a little bit, the story itself is quite ageless because unfortunately, we see that through the history that it always repeats itself. Every once in a while, there is someone who comes with a lot of idealism and with the time, the ideals are going away and the realistic part is coming, which is not always very good. But I think that that's how he was trying also to write this book. It's some kind of a satire about the situation, and it's a satire. Sorry.
It referred to Russia, but it is he wrote. I think his inspiration came from Russian politics, but of course it is always the same. People are suppressed or oppressed, and they have no rights, no power, no food. They just have I haven't got anything. And as soon they receive some power, there are always some people who change. Although they promised and just wanted to not to misbehave, but it's always the same. It's a human character. Some are just develop in this kind and then others to this kind. As soon as they have power, it's the same as politicians all over the world. They behave in a way that you couldn't understand, but I think it's just, it abuses, it just changes people. And that's the idea, the message.
Power, yeah.
And another message is what's been happening, let's say, in the United States, even though it's much after his death, about the dumbing down, and the animals were not given enough food and worked too hard, so they could never really develop their thinking powers, and then they would forget what they had first been indoctrinated in.
Is it always, I think he wrote that a little bit about, yeah, you were right, Elizabeth, he wrote it about Russia. I think it was about Stalin. And I think somewhere we see that very much related to communism. Is it only related to communism today when we look at that?
No.
No.
Any people have these features.
Any dictator.
Sorry? Well, yeah, that's how I felt that. It's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit anywhere. And I think it became a little bit generalized in terms of politics are like that. I'm not, Diana, I'm not very familiar with the historical part of the United States you were talking about.
Yeah, it's very current, but it also started quite a long time ago. And Sinclair Lewis wrote some wonderful books that have come true about, well, anyway, yeah. But let's stay in Europe. But I wonder if there are other books that are similar to this book in anybody's culture, where they had animals run a farm or become responsible.
That's what I was saying. That the French poet, whose name is La Fontaine, he wrote many poems only with animals.
That's right. They're poems and fables, but
fables.
Not novels. But you're right. They're very good. Yeah, they're fables.
It's only with rabbits, mice, tigers, wolves, and all that.
Yeah.
And there's a rat who helps a lion to get free from the
net.
It's a net. Yes.
Lewis Carroll.
And all that. And freedom is not what it seems all the time, like in the wolf and the dog and all that. It's very different and very similar at the same time.
Yes, but La Fontaine was inspired by Aesop. It's a Greek author. Yes.
Well, and not only Aesop, and also
yes.
But it still talks about his time, about Greek, the king and all the aristocracy around him. So well, I don't know if we think that it did not change at all. That's just what Ganith was saying. It's not a question of time, but I mean, it's always the same. Once you have the power, who's got the power, like the song says?
Yeah.
But it turns that way, which
power
is not
corrupt.
Yeah, power corrupts. But it's very interesting. I've never thought about it as if like that somewhere in a way. Yeah, I did not think about La Fontaine, probably because I'm not French. Yeah. So it did not come to me immediately, even though we all learned La Fontaine even in school, but it did not. But it's true. There is in a way, I think that now you can look at this book and say, actually, it's a fable. It's somewhere. It's not a novel. It's it's just a very long, maybe, and less, because La Fontaine wrote short stories, and they were they each story had a point to tell.
Yes, exactly.
And here it's something which is much longer, and it's a very interesting point. I did not think about that.
Well, good.
There's always also music. I think it's also French. The Carnival of Animals. I don't know whether this is.
Oh, yeah.
So has also something to do with animals, but it's a very positive kind of praise.
And so why do you think he chose animals in order to emphasize this, his point? Do you think there is any reason that he chose to, like he wanted to talk about I think something about the communism and the bad parts of it, or the human being and all that? Why did he choose animals, and why did he choose these specific animals? Does anyone, well, it's a question that I have like that.
I have a question, which is what seems very important is that they suddenly, out of nowhere, they can't speak. That's the first main difference between animals and, let's say, us. And that's strange. I found it strange, this thing.
They can speak, and also they can write.
Yes,
just the pigs are writing.
Yes, some can. Some
can.
Some. Well, so there are differences between the animals. So it's very human also, but it's very tricky. I think I don't know exactly what it means, but it's not yet. I have to read it over again. slowly.
Well, I think this is what people think. This is our prejudice. We think that pigs are intelligent. We think that sheep and horses are not as intelligent, and that dogs bark, so they are the speakers. I think this is what he or our prejudice is. We characterize animals in different categories. We say they are more intelligent than others. I just recently heard that chickens can be very intelligent. I never thought that they would be intelligent. So we are clever. So I think this is what he thought about, and you could compare them.
People speak about rats in Paris, that rats are because we have too many rats in Paris, and somebody says that the rats are intelligent because if they see poison and if they see that one rat is dead because of poison, the other rats are not going to eat this food.
Yeah.
So they have they are quite intelligent, and it's quite a problem to eliminate rats in Paris, in fact.
In fact, today
the place where there are many of them, perhaps you know the Tour Saint-Jacques in the center. That's where the pilgrimage to Saint-Jacques of Compostelle starts. And it's a garden and a very old tower, which has not burned. And a lot of rats there. You feel like being in the Middle Age. That's really the tower. That's everything.
I think that he let animals talk, because it makes a distance, and of this distance I can decide whom I will agree.
What
with
do you mean?
situation and with the idea, I will agree. And it is better from the distance than to be in middle of the discussion myself.
Who do I agree? But isn't it difficult sometimes to agree? I don't think many of us agree with who do you agree, for example, with among the animals? Because do we agree with the horse that was working very hard? Do we feel connected to him? Is that?
No.
But he described as stupid.
No, to agree with the situation, the whole situation.
Do you agree with the whole situation? I'm not so sure that I understand.
I could agree with what happened after the revolution. How they build up their life, how they organized themselves, and what they did themselves. I could agree with that they had a leader. No dictator, but a leader who organized the things. And later on, when the situation on the farm completely changed, I felt outside. I didn't agree with this, what happened there.
Okay.
No, it's important to know that you need a leader in some way. You always need a leader, otherwise it's revolution. I mean,
anarchy.
Cacophonia.
It's anarchy.
Anarchy, yeah.
You need a leader, and the problem is to have a leader who is not a dictator. Yeah.
No.
How do you define a dictator? How do you define a leader who is not a dictator? Because as we said, most of the Western countries, there are no dictators. At the same time, we say that the same situation repeats also in countries like ours, isn't it?
No, I think leading is always a double thing. It is power and it is competence. Competent.
Yeah.
Competence.
And competence, and it is for whom I do it. Is it for the people, or for myself?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know many politicians today that do it for the people and not for themselves?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I know many at the moment. It is. I think it is the same struggle at the moment between power and competence.
Competence.
Competent.
Competence.
I know that Vladimir Putin has changed the laws so he can be president and
Yes.
take care of the people. But
That's
politics for again 12 years or something like that.
The same with Erdogan. He also changed. And he was a very good leader before, and power changed him probably too. This is something I know from my European, because Turkey is part in the European educational program, and this is what I heard from the Turks. So he was a good leader, and it has changed. Power has changed him too, and he also changed laws for him. So that's always the question. Some people love it. The same as in Russia, some people admire Putin and some don't. But if you look at the vaccination problems all over the world, the countries where it works best are the countries where some kind of dictatorship works, because it said you do, like in Singapore. And here in Austria, every second person says, well, it could be dangerous. Why should I? The others can't do it. So if there's too much democracy and too much freedom, it often doesn't work either. So I don't want to say that it is important to have dictatorship, but it's always
it's always difficult anyway.
It's always difficult. Yes.
It's very funny that you say that. That you say that the vaccination succeeds in dictatorships because I'm Israeli.
Oh yeah,
yes, and you know, vaccination went very well there. I do not agree 100% with the results yet, or with the need to vaccinate or not. But it's very funny for me to hear what you say, because I think it did become, in a certain point, some kind of a dictatorship of vaccination. Because you're not, like, I can tell that every discussion now that I have with friends there or with my family, so why don't you want to vaccinate yourself? Why don't you go and do a vaccination? You have to do that, and it becomes a discussion. So it's very funny. And also we have now, with the political problems in Israel, we are not very sure anymore whether it is a democracy or not. So it's very, I must say that I dislike this comment, but I think it's very interesting because it makes a point about something. Maybe sometimes is democracy always a good thing?
Yeah, it depends.
No.
But your country has been recommended in Austria as one of the countries where you can go to on holidays. Among also Malta was mentioned, Israel was mentioned, Singapore was mentioned, because there is no danger to catch the disease. So there's a positive point, of course. But of course, that's always a problem.
No, but I think your viewpoint is very good one, because I see that a little bit also as a well, all of a sudden it makes the book much more relevant, even though it's not. I don't think he meant to those things or not. And
no, of course not.
It's funny. Maybe we chose a good timing to read it.
That's always a good book. That's my opinion, anyhow.
You know which country, completely different from Israel, succeeded with vaccination? It's Bhutan. Bhutan, they have 93% of the adults who have been vaccinated in 2 weeks.
But it's so small.
It's funny.
Tiny country.
That's also
That country is
very
a little, very little country, and everybody is very solidar. You have a lot of solidarity, but it's really it's like a paradise or a dream. I don't know. It's outside from the world in some way.
Yeah.
I think it's always much easier to vaccinate a country where you have where the population is very small, and like
Gibraltar. Gibraltar is another one
Yeah.
with
yeah.
a very high percentage of vaccinations. You're right, small, but these are huge countries like China, Russia, Europe, millions and millions of people to be vaccinated. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's not obvious. It's not obvious, I think, to vaccinate Europe, but yeah.
I think it is very difficult to look behind the picture, to look behind what you see, because in Germany at the moment, I think the point of health is instrumented to get more power or better power or different power. So I do not look behind. I cannot look behind it, but I want to, and I don't know how to do it.
I don't quite understand what you mean.
No,
Yeah, me neither.
I think there are many politicians who want to get more power for themselves, using at the moment the corona epidemic.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, I think to be a successful politician, not a good politician, successful politician, you always need to make a good use of the situation.
Yeah.
I think the most successful ones use the misery and the problematic situations. I think it's unfortunately that's part of the politics.
We have an example in Paris. We have the mayor of the 7th arrondissement, who is Dati, Rachida Dati.
Yeah.
She wants power, of course. So what has she done? She
well, of course.
all the kids in all the schools to make the test to see if they have COVID. It's the only place in France where somebody did it. I mean, it's just,
Salivaire test.
yeah.
Salivaire test. Enfin, je sais pas si...
Saliva, yeah, saliva test, yeah.
Some tests. I mean, just to see, perhaps it's not useful, but she tried to do something to show that she's doing something. Yeah.
In Austrian schools, they have to do the self-testing, but it's a must here. I think the idea of a politician is to protect his people. And this should be his idea, not only to be of course, then you're popular if you do it successfully, but well, it's a difficult question.
It is. What did you think? Because for me, it's not the first book that I read from Orwell, but I'm not referring to 1984. I refer to another one that he wrote about Paris in London, down and out in Paris and London.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Really, did you like it? Because actually, well, I thought that the story was good, but I found that the writing was not very, the style and the writing is not very good. And I think I found it here as well, because when I read the book, I liked the story. I thought that there was a lot of meaning in the story. I don't find him a good writer in terms of writing. What did you think?
No.
Was anyone bothered by the writing, by the style, or was it only me?
I think it's only you.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
I read it in translation, so I could not say. I mean, I read it.
Okay.
But Down and Out in Paris is very
at the beginning, and the first, and the third, fourth, the capitals. Also when he wrote about the time of the farm, I felt it was a good writing. But later on, when he described the situation, this bad situation of that was a little bit chaos in writing and telling.
Yeah. So do you agree with me a little bit?
Part, yeah.
Well, this is
No.
more journalism. I think more journalism than literature. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, I would agree with you on that. The style is not really, it's not really, yeah, for me, he's more of a journalist rather than a writer.
Yes. Can I say something?
But his sentence, one of his famous sentences, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. This is so true.
That's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah.
Jean-Michel, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
It's a question. I wanted to know if anybody among you has been through, you know, Blade Runner, the movie?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the book, which is androids dream of electric sheep, something like that.
Yeah.
It's also about animals. It's very, well, it's more than sad, this one. Very short. And who's been through that book? Nobody.
Well,
I've seen the film. I've seen the film, not read the
film. Yeah.
Okay.
I read it.
Yeah, right. And it's terrible also. And I just read, when I was through Animal Farm, it made me think about this book too, with his wife who has a false sheep, I think, in the garden, an android, a robotic sheep.
Yeah, this is a robot. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very, it's worse than Orwell. Orwell is just Joyce compared to Dick, I think. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to know if you had been through that book.
It's funny, I don't remember much about the book. I do remember reading it.
You remember the film, the Blade Runner with Harry?
Yeah, that's it.
Sure.
No, and I do remember that we spoke about the fact that it's based on this this book. I read the book much after I saw the film.
Right.
And I'm not so sure that also that I don't remember whether the style was like, did it age well, to say that like that?
I think it did. Well, I read that when I was young, because I was well, I think about 16, 17. I read Dubik and that kind of thing of Dick, and I loved science. So Philip Dick is somebody very important for our future.
Yeah. Didn't think about it.
Sorry?
I didn't think about it. The book did not come to me when I read that, but it's a good point.
Oh.
Yeah.
And to come back quickly to La Fontaine, there is the fable Les animaux malades de la peste.
Yes.
Really about COVID somehow.
What was it once again?
Les animaux malades, sick, de la peste. It's not Camus, it's La Fontaine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Gustave Doré made a magnificent drawing about that. Gustave Doré would mean golden. Yeah.
And how do you write Gustave Doren?
Gustave is like Gustav, and Doré, it's D-O-R-E.
Ah, Doré.
That's gold. So E with a stress.
Designer.
Okay.
It's a draw. Well,
drawer, a designer.
Important of the 19th century. And that's all. I'm
Okay, thank you.
Made a good point. Yeah. Anyone else has anything to say, to ask, to any questions that came to your mind when you were reading the book, or points that you wanted to make?
Just comes to my mind that Orwell also wrote Burmese Days. And in case you're interested in Myanmar and the situation there, and when he was there, you could compare that. Well, but it has nothing to do with. But this is some kind of animal farm is now there in Myanmar.
In Burmese Days?
No, in nowadays. Well, the military is so powerful, of course.
Very powerful there, yeah.
I was there 2 years ago, but unfortunately, it's a beautiful country.
I felt that the end was not very hopeful. In the 80s, I got a friend from Bolivia. He was exiled from Bolivia. He was a very high workers in the workers' union in Bolivia. And then in Germany, we founded a Grupo Solidaridad de Bolivia, collected many money and supported the underground in Bolivia. And then the dictator had to go. They won and we were invited. We were invited to Bolivia. It was 84. And it was a very, very good, very hopeful and good situation. They built up, they did many projects for the people of Bolivia. They were very poor people there in Bolivia, and we supported these projects of learning, of doing with machines, Strickmaschinen, but what is that in English? So it was a very, very good, wonderful time. But then at the end, at the moment, in Bolivia, we have the same situation than Orwell tells in his book. It's awful. It's really awful. But then what happens then? And I don't know why. I would like to know why it ran this way. Orwell tries to tell about it, why it ran that way. But it seems to be the normal situation that it goes that way, and it should not.
It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe because the human being is not like, well, even though it's written about animals, I think it's very humanistic ways of actions or behaviors, and maybe because human being is not that good and actually quite sometimes likes to find the weak points of someone else and use them. And I guess in Bolivia it's the same. And you always have those that at a certain point enter into power and take the most of it. No?
Well, it's reality that time is going on. It's changing, all things. But the how people can live together in justice and peace, that should not only be a dream. In the book, it is a kind of dream. In the book also, it should be a reality, I think, and not only a dream.
Yeah, it should, but unfortunately, the world is not that.
How to get it? What is going on in our future? You know, if I read and hear what the climate changing will happen to people. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. There's another country where the problems are a little bit not the same, but it's Birmania with the junta and.
That's right.
The same problem. I mean, things seem to be okay and democracy and everything, and then the junta comes back and everything is on the ground. Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you have the power, you use it.
Mm-hmm.
We are like that. Anyone who did not speak yet wants to say something? Anything else?
I don't know if, yeah, seems that not. If not, what I said at the beginning, that it would be good if people send us ideas about books. We already mentioned quite several of them for next time. And it would be interesting to have some books from other countries. We have Dorian Gray, Modiano, we have quite a lot of friends. Well, we'll see if somebody...
Calvino also. It's very good.
Yeah.
Calvino.
It depends which one do you propose?
Which book?
Which book?
Yeah.
It depends of which kind of book do you like. It is,
I remember one, which was Les Cosmos Communiqués. I don't know if you read it. I don't know if it's translated. Sorry.
Entertainment is different. If you choose Voltaire, it's different of novel.
Yeah.
Not,
But Calvino is a writer of today.
Yeah.
An Italian writer.
I think that the choice should be a book that can be read at least in English, if it's not translated to all the other languages, because I don't know the people here, so I don't know where do people come from.
But nobody comes from Italy.
So sorry?
Nobody comes from Italy.
No, that's not the question. The question is that I think that the book that you choose, should be like accessible to everyone, either in their own language or at least in English, because as much as I understood, it's the English. English is the common language here, right?
Of course, yeah.
So I think that if you propose a book, it should be at least in English, if not translated to other languages. The original language is not important.
Yeah, but it has to be translated, which is, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And very important that we can read online this book, for example. A lot of books are on the online, on the internet, so better to find some.
Why should it
on the
be?
internet?
Why should it be online?
By internet we can read.
Yeah, but if you have
what about the little prince, the Kleine Prinz?
Yeah, I thought of that too. Yes.
I propose that you send proposals to Monique, because everyone has Monique's email address, right?
Yeah.
Monique, and I think that maybe we should not have more than 5 proposals, so that we can choose from them. So Monique, once you have the 5, I propose that you set the doodle and send it to everyone to vote, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
That's democracy.
Yes, very good. Very Israeli.
Would it be possible to choose a song? I mean, a big song.
Sorry?
Will it be possible to choose a song also?
Well, I think that we stay for. I would say that at least at the beginning, it's better staying with novels, because it's easier to discuss. That's why I was asking you about Calvino, because he wrote, for example, Invisible Cities, which I think is very difficult to discuss, because it's short stories. So I think I propose, from my experience, is that we will try to choose novels, so that there is some substance to discuss, and it's not just short stories that like things that, well, that's my experience.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay, so Ganith, how often do you think we can do that kind of thing? I mean, I suppose you need the time to find a book and then the time to read it.
Yeah, right.
So
I think that once
1 or 2 months, 2 months, yeah.
I think that 2 months is good. Is good enough.
Good. Yeah.
Because you'll have time to vote and then time to read, to find the book, to read it, and be ready.
Exactly.
The Corona time is very good.
Jean-Michel, if you want to do something with songs later on, no problem. We'll sing.
The Corona time is very good to
get a guitar, we try to sing together and to see how it works. Let's
Yeah.
put it down.
Oh,
You want to try now? Just to see if we can do it or not. I think
To
it's
do what?
have you got your
Do
guitar next to you?
singing together.
To sing something.
Oh.
Well, I rather, it's sunny outside, the weather is good. I prefer not to.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Ganith, thanks a lot for
Both our music.
Thank you.
moderation.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very
I
much.
will leave you for your discussions now. And I'll talk to you, Monique, to see for the next.
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ganith. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
So,
Well, another time or now?
Because you mentioned music, we could have, each of us could present some typical music from the country, not only literature, but maybe also, well,
Yeah,
I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3, just.
yeah,
That's it's
that's
the
what we
anniversary
wanted
of
to
the
do
death.
for a change. Instead of book club, we wanted to make something about
Like a music club. Yes, nice, but it's just to bring it in. Now, of course, book club is interesting.
But 30 years ago, Serge Gainsbourg died. I think it's quite famous.
Yeah,
Gainsbourg.
the one with Je t'aime. No? Is it
What?
not? Yes. With the song Je t'aime.
Oh, lovely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes,
a lot of
very
things.
nice.
Je t'aime moi non
Very
plus.
good. Well, he died 30 years ago.
Already.
Everybody talks
Yeah.
about songs. And so 30 years ago, that was the first album of Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Mhm.
You know it, I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I'm always wondering what people of my age, what kind of singers they still like. Not
Your age?
Yeah.
The singers they liked when they were young.
Yes, who are?
My brother loves the Beatles, and we were on a Beatles tour before lockdown. So, for example, and they have good texts. For example.
I'm a Jimi Hendrix fan. I
Oh,
saw
no.
it several times.
Okay.
It's not at all.
You're more in the solo guitar.
Yeah, but it was a strange universe musically,
Mm.
very out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not
Well,
I like the Rolling Stones.
so do I.
Yeah, they're still good.
Fair enough.
They are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even look at that stupid girl. This kind of thing. You don't remember. I'm not saying that because you're human.
I mean, girl from the Beatles.
Careful. Yeah.
No, it's a girl from the
Yeah,
Beatles.
you are more the wild type. Well, I'm more the
I'm on the wild side. I'm on the wild side.
Yeah, so was I.
okay, well, Rolling
Well,
Stones.
you still are, I'm sure.
You think so? Oh, I love the song Living Next Door to Alice.
Oh yeah.
It's very bad, but you know, I really enjoy it. I think when there's a crowd, it's very funny.
I understand.
Yeah, really bad.
I thought of, because you say Alice in the Wonderland, because there are a lot of animals in the story. But this has nothing to do
Oh, yeah,
Living
true.
Next
That's
Door to
another one,
Alice
yeah.
is not Alice in Wonderland.
I don't know the text of Alice.
Definitely not.
All right. Well, I'm like the rabbit. I have to run away.
I'm late for a very important date.
Important
Yeah.
date, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I say goodbye. It's been a pleasure.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes,
Bye.
for all of us. And thank you, Monique, for doing
Thank
it
you.
all.
Bye-bye.
Monique, thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Again.
Yes,
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Maybe
Ganith.
Diane, should we quickly speak about the topics
Yeah, you
we
could
could think of?
about the next English
conversation, just a topic we
Sure.
could prepare.
Something about music would be good from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that one. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
just something with music. Typically, I can bring 2, 3, 4 Austrian music samples.
Yeah.
And also maybe show what I'd love if we were in a hall, we could dance together like a waltz or a polka, but of course we can't do that. But I could prepare something on that, and everybody could maybe bring in some samples.
Yes.
Yeah, you could show maybe a video of a waltz or something. That's so.
Yes, and our ballroom.
Yeah.
Yes, and all nice dresses. And
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so I prepare something on Austrian music and tradition, something.
Oh, lovely. Very good. Yeah.
And then maybe, of course, in addition, you need chocolate cake, like the Sachertorte.
But oh, very nice. Very nice.
I can show you, but I can't give you.
Can you send it over to Ireland, please?
Well, if you send me your address, I can send you sample. No problem.
We'll do that.
We've got a very nice chocolate confiserie not far away from here. It's called Sauna, and it was our emperor's favorite chocolate preparer, and they sent to all these different countries. If you send me your address, it's no problem. It's small bite. I'll send it to you.
And then I would feel I had to eat it. Oh,
yes. Oh,
yes.
Well, in case I think it's my serious offer, but it's up to you.
It's great.
Oh, thank you very much.
When is more appropriate, May or June for you?
In both months, I will be in Brussels. It doesn't matter because I'm online anyhow.
Okay.
And I can prepare that already now. So, but online I have all support.
Well, suggest a date to Monique to see how it fits in with all the other events.
Yeah, it's just
June would be better for me. June is better for me.
June is better. Okay.
And you'll do something too, Jean-Michel, about French music?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I could try. I think we'll have to make some test meetings before. So
okay.
You mean whether the sound is good?
The sound might be good, but in music we might be a bit. There's some
distorted.
No, but if it lags, I mean, I play my chord and you sing half a second later, it will be difficult. So we must try before. But to send samples, yes, I can. I wrote some songs I could send you. They're on DistroKid. So I'll let you know.
I don't know DistroKid. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you will. I'll tell Monique about that, okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry. See you soon.
See you.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I would have to send some links because, of course, as not organizer, then the links have to be prepared, and then Monique clicks on and then they are shown. Because I don't. If you're an organizer, then you can do it on your page. But if you're not, I just send it to Monique.
Well, she could make you an organizer.
Well, I'm not so familiar with Zoom. I usually have I am MS Teams in my lessons.
Okay.
Where I know how to handle that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Or I send them to you.
No, Monique is better because who knows what will happen to me anyway.
See, but that's fun, of course.
Some
Austrian traditions and some writing to it and some questions maybe, and we have some famous composers, and shouldn't be a problem.
No, not at all. That's great. So, is an hour enough for all of this?
Yeah, well, it depends.
Or an hour and a half, but like we did today, really.
I think we can always finish earlier.
Okay, that's good.
But let's take 1.5 hours.
All right.
Yes. Okay. There's also Irish music. A lot of
it's great, and dancing too.
Yes.
Oh, you'd hate it. It's very noisy.
Well,
I don't like it myself, but some of it I do.
Oh, I do. Anyway, very lively.
Most other people love our music.
Yeah, of course.
You don't?
Not really. I'd like some of it, but not all of it.
Well, but
Okay.
you also have U2 and
Yeah, we can
I
find
don't-
music there, yeah.
Yeah, you two, I do not like. It's funny.
Okay.
My daughters love you too, and my
Uh-huh.
grandchildren, but
Yes.
I never switched on to them.
Mhm.
But you know, there's the Boomtown Rats and all those people. That's really going back a long time now.
Yeah, but I also know that. Yeah. Of course, there
Yeah.
are a lot of Irish singers. Also the red-haired one with very good songs, but I don't remember his name. Well, there are a lot of very good musicians.
Oh yeah, there are good singers
And the
and
Cranberries and whatever the names
Oh,
were.
yeah, right.
we have River Dance, which is beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
very
about, the
nice.
dance, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Very
fantastic.
fast, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but we have all sorts of other things. I must think about it.
Yeah, think
Because-
about it. And we can have another one either in September, October. We'll see
Yeah.
about the fall, because if we have
Oh,
one in
Dad,
June, it might
you
be the
know,
last.
time is flying by us all.
It really is, yeah.
I
We're
think
getting out of lockdown next Monday, the 26th.
Good for you.
And we can now travel inside our own counties, but we can't go abroad, because if we go abroad, we have to come back and go into a hotel that's costing nearly €2,000.
oops.
Oh, no.
But this is a
Yeah,
disgrace.
That's compulsory now.
Oh, my God.
So Ireland is much stricter than we are.
Oh, it's
Much
very
stricter,
strict.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I can play golf on the 26th of April. I haven't hit a golf ball for about 5 months because our golf courses are all closed.
Yeah.
We have no shops open, only supermarkets.
Oh,
How boring.
But I have had my 2 vaccines, so I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I got 2 of them. The second one gave me a dreadful headache.
Oh.
Dread.
Was it Astra or by Pfizer?
It was Pfizer.
Okay. Mhm.
And I don't know, for some reason it didn't affect me the following day. It affected me. I got it on Friday, and on Sunday I couldn't even read a newspaper. I couldn't see. My head was so I had to go out. I went out for a walk with the dog to get air, and it started snowing, and I said, oh my God, let me out. Please put me on a beach in Portugal or somewhere.
for a long time, huh? Because, you know.